to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, hello, this is Lee Kreider with another episode of the OhioRAAM Show. It's what is it number now, Jim? Is it
360, I believe.
360, the show about ultra cycling, where we put the ultra in ultra cycling. And tonight we've got an ultra cyclist, an ultra eater, an ultra runner, all the ultras you can think of, Jim.
Definitely. And I'm Jim Lawyer, and we'd like to mention that the OhioRAAM Show is brought to you by our wonderful OhioRAAM time stations, 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, and my favorite, 43 in Chillicothe, the one I run.
We don't play favorites here on the show, Jim.
I know. They're all my favorites.
Yep. We try to make it that. And what's the news, Jim?
Yeah, basically you got a couple items in the news. Team Shivington will be at the Major Taylor Velodrome in Indianapolis to set 2 age group records on April 16th. And he'll be raising funds for the wounded veterans. Great thing, and he'll do a great job. We plan to be live from there with him a couple of times. More info on that later. And to stay on that same frame, Team Shivington has gone together with the Chillicothe VA, Matt Cox and Joe Lawhorn, Joe Lawhorn's a good ram rider, solo finisher, and various other things. If you donate $20 to the Shivington Fund, they will supply a bike helmet for a veteran. So we'll have more information on the show notes, but you can text Go Doug to 44321. So that would be a good thing to do. Help our veterans for all the help they've given us.
Okay, very good. And as Jim said, we're going to have more on that. That's a great project, and I hope that we can raise a few bucks, or Doug, I should say, can raise a few bucks about that. Now, we want to get right to our guest as soon as possible. We want to talk about the next show, which is going to be next Saturday, March the 13th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to have Jen Malik from Columbus, Ohio. We're going to go dirty tomorrow, next week, Jim.
Definitely. Get in the mud.
Cycle, cross, gravel, you name it. And she and her partner, Steve Cross, did the coast to coast here in Ohio, Jim.
Yes.
People don't realize that we have 2 coasts here in Ohio, the Ohio River and Lake Erie, both of which are international waterways. And they did that, set a record there for WUCA, and we'll be talking more about that next Saturday. Hey, Jim, did you know that the Ohio River carries more freight tonnage than the Panama Canal?
Did not know that. That's amazing.
It does. So,
wow.
Don't sell Ohio short. And, of course, ocean-going ships call regularly at Cleveland and Toledo and other places along the shore there. So we'll brag a little bit about our state. Enough of that. Let's get Yasir Salem here. Hi, Yasir. How are you tonight?
Hey, Lee. Hey, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Looking good there.
New York City, right?
That's right.
Well, Yasir, I mentioned all the ultras.
Yep.
First got acquainted with you talking about the Tour de Donut up here in Troy. Jim lives just a few miles from there.
Yep.
I believe, did you set a record there by eating 48 donuts on a
I sure did.
60-mile ride?
Yeah, I sure did. And it's been a little while since I've been back. Obviously, Corona was last year. And, I'm sure we're getting into it in a little bit. But, I've been out of that race for a little bit. But I'm going to tease out some news for you guys that I'll announce here in a second. But I have something exciting to say about that a little later once we get into it.
Okay,
Cool.
very good. And I guess you've got a whole bunch of eating trophies.
Yep, they're all up here. They're all
And,
up here.
and he's skinny as a rail. Jim.
So that bike riding.
Yep. Biking and running, it keeps me skinny. I do it fasted in the morning, and that kind of, I gain weight really easily. So I gotta keep that cardio up, and it seems to work for me.
How did you discover you were good at eating?
Okay, this is a real story. When I was younger, like in a high chair age, my mom told me that one time she got a half a chicken, full half chicken. She put it in front of me, and I ate the whole thing. I ate all of it. Yeah. So I think that was an indication. But I mean, I love to eat. I genuinely love the experience of eating. I know everybody loves to eat, but like I think I might love to eat more than most people. So I have a love of eating. So that's a good start. And then the competitive eating thing is like a different type of thing. It's a level of fullness that you don't feel, and I hope you never experience it. There's a lot of pain involved. So yeah, it's more like can you push yourself through. That's why I think like weightlifters or people who have like a high pain tolerance can do well at it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's remarkable. And I know that you have a foundation which is very important to you, the Gweneviere Mann Foundation, is it?
Yes.
And this was your wife, I believe, that you're talking about.
Yep.
The last time you're on the show, you told me about how you was able to get Gweneviere through her first marathon, and a little bit about her brain injury that was a part of that.
Yep. So yeah, back in 2010, we ran our first New York City marathon. There's a big lead up to that. Gwen had a brain tumor, and she had it removed in 2008. And we trained all throughout 2009. Got qualified and ran in 2010. I mean, before that point, we didn't really do much running, and so for me to get her to the point where we were running marathons was like, first of all, I was like, you're crazy. I'm not running a marathon. I've never run a marathon, and we couldn't fathom the idea of running a marathon before we ran that first one. And then it was a way for us to focus after her brain surgery, and she had some pretty bad memory problems after that, and but we wanted to set a really big goal for her and I to believe, like, she still has everything. Everything is still there, and like she can accomplish great things, despite like her memory problems. And it was, very obviously that first marathon was a very uplifting experience, and we just kept going back every year. And not, like I said, neither of us were very athletic people. She was very good at basketball. I mean, like, meaning like she could like get the ball in. She beat me every time when we played horse. But we weren't really that athletic, and so it was a huge experience for that first one. It was a huge experience for us.
And you told us that how you dealt with that was to just keep convincing her that she'd only been running a few minutes.
Right.
Because her memory, her short-term memory.
Yeah, exactly. So like we were like, what could I do to help? She told me like, hey, just keep reminding me. This is again all in your head, kind of like competitive eating. Like, can you put your mind at ease? Can you put those demons in your head telling you to stop? I'm too full, or I'm too tired. And it's very powerful. So like that kind of power of suggestion worked really well for her. She's like, oh, okay, it's 15 minutes. I can get behind that idea. It feels fine. And so like that got us through the race after a while. her memory started getting better, and those kinds of tricks didn't quite work. But by that point, she was trained up, and she could run multiple marathons at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lost her to cancer.
Yeah, I mean, I hope nobody has to go through that type of pain of losing your life partner, or there's all that is a really high level of pain and loss, and it's horrible. It's been almost 3 years now, and I still have plenty of moments where it's like, did this thing happen? It did, and it gets better every day, and I find a good place for me in my heart for her. One thing that really helps me is I journal every day. There have been moments where I lapsed, but that journaling, and I write those journals to her so that I can feel like it's my time with her, and that's when I get things out. And in moments where I have been good about my journaling, as I have been actually for quite a bit this year, it's been really helpful, and at least I can put to words what's in my head and communicate with her, or say what I need to say.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you told me once, Yasir, that she had adenocarcinoma in the lungs. Is that correct? Which, strangely enough, was the same disease that my first wife died of.
I remember that.
It's kind of a very unusual place for that particular cancer to appear.
Yep.
And it had her doctors mystified. I don't know if that was true for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened fast. It happened sudden. It happened out of nowhere, and that's that's the terrible thing about lung cancer is it usually just sneaks up on you, and there's no warning, and it just kind of by the time you feel something, it's pretty late, Yeah. But we're working on that.
So you started the Gweneviere Foundation. Now you had a plan. I haven't heard the results. I believe to run a marathon in all the 50 states. Did you accomplish that?
I sure did, and the medals are right there. I did it during 2019. Pretty much, it started New York City 2018, and then ended in the Marine Corps Marathon the week before the New York City Marathon in 2019, and then in the New York, and so I ran with Dean Karnassus there at the Marine Corps Marathon. We did the ultra for most of the race together. We there were parts where he was on his own, I was on my own, but we had communicated quite a bit. He had reached out to me. I was starstruck, to be quite honest with you, and he reached out to me out of nowhere, and he wanted me to write a chapter in his upcoming book, and I did, and that came out in May of 2019. It was Running for Good, stories for about inspirational running stories, and mine was included in it, and it was a huge honor. And we did very well in terms of running the campaign that is with the 50 marathons in 50 states in 50 weeks. We raised, I believe, about $70,000. So
that's amazing. Great
and
job.
on the OhioRAAMShow.com website, there's a link to your charity and your website. So if anybody's interested, they can go there and learn more and maybe drop a dime on you.
Great.
So that's great. Well, you were planning on doing, what was it, Raw or RAM this year?
So I was planning on doing RAM last year. Obviously, COVID happened, and nobody could do it. And then this year, because my training was kind of messed up with everything, I opted to go for Raw for this year, and I was going to do RAM in 2022, just because, to be more realistic about where I was and the level of training that I was able to do for this year. So then plans have changed yet again for this year, just because, I I am injured, and I got injured, and I found out I have arthritis in my neck, and that's a very recent thing. I just found out this week, and I have a bone spur in there. But thankfully, it's not rheumatoid arthritis. It's
Definitely.
osteoarthritis. It's a physical thing, and I can keep that under control with keeping my inflammation down, not tweaking it and messing with it. And I'm going to physical therapy often. And I have some difficulty in range of motion right now. It's just stiff. And I was aggravating myself, I was trying to get at it, and I was like, what is this pain? And those kinds of things, I have broken my habit of that. So, at least I know what I'm dealing with now and what I need to do to keep it under control. Arthritis, I can't keep, arthritis is there. It's going to be there. But I've accepted that. Well, now I know what to do to keep it at bay. So.
Very good.
But I've changed my race schedule yet again this week because of that. But I'm still very excited. I have a very full calendar of races that I have not yet published, but I will, just because, races were all up in the air this year, but now I have a pretty clear picture of where I'm gonna be this year.
Excellent.
I'm happy to also announce that in addition
breaking news,
I have not told anybody this, and this concerns Ohio. I am going to be back to reclaim my title and set a new record at the Tour de Donut in Ohio this year on August 28th. So I will be there with a new bike. Yep. And, I'm happy to, meet up with all the good people in Ohio. I love that race. It's my favorite race, obviously. One of my favorite races because, it holds a very special place in my heart. And I love that they are doing really good with the race. They have a charity partner that is blood cancer focused. And, anything I could do to help the cancer fighting community and the cancer support community, of which there's a lot of good work, including, the foundation, the charity that the Tour de Donut of Ohio is aligned with.
That's a remarkable
great
event.
news.
That's a remarkable event.
Breaking news.
Has room for everything from the wee little toddlers right on up to
Yep.
the rest
We will
of
definitely
us.
come out and maybe do an interview with you live.
Yep.
And be there to cheer you on.
Yep. And I hope
Jim,
more than anything, I hope to get some awareness for the blood cancers, and put a spotlight on that. So I'll be definitely, my number one goal is getting some awareness for the race and the fundraising part of it. And my number two goal is to break a record and to win it. So
what's the current record you have there?
I think it's 48. 48 donuts is the number of donuts that I've eaten. And I think it's on my Wikipedia, I believe, or on my site. But I think it's in the neighborhood of negative an hour and a half or something like that. So
that is
something
tremendous.
ridiculous.
some video of him eating, Jim.
Yes.
I have some, but it's from his GoPro camera on his helmet. It's upside down. Now, I tried to turn it the other way in post, and it still doesn't look right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to give you all the footage I can. I'll be definitely filming.
Well, we'll try to get that covered between the two of us. We should be able to do something with that. And I believe that's be the donor. What is it?
Be the match.
Be the match. Yeah.
Yeah.
For people who have the possibility of being a bone marrow donor.
Yep.
Right.
And of course, we've had a team here on the show from RAM 2 years ago. Who were raising funds for that same charity, and the team leader's son, who is, by the way, Asian, and that's even harder.
Yes, that's correct.
to make a match because of his ethnicity.
Yep.
But he did find a match from a police officer, I believe, in Los Angeles,
That's
who
great.
was able to match for him. And by the way, if there's anybody out there watching, please give us a comment. Oh, I see one just popped up here.
Yep.
Let's see who's saying what. I better look at it first. Oh, I know this guy.
Oh, hey, Mark. How you doing? Good to see you again.
That is one of my spawns.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's my son in Colorado.
Great.
How do you compare the challenge of running marathons with long distance cycling?
Yeah. So marathons, running marathons for me is kind of, once you get in a groove like I did with the 50 and 50, it gets easier. I prefer two back-to-back weekends, a Saturday, Sunday marathon, because it feels like, to me it's like the momentum, right? But in order for me to build the momentum, it takes a while to get to the point where I could do, multiple marathons, and it becomes like that feeling of coasting, when I'm cycling. So the good thing for me, I prefer cycling, even though I've run 76 marathons, I think, at this point or more. I love running. There's a different type of joy that I get from running, but I get a special feeling of joy when I'm riding my bike, at 30 somewhat miles an hour or 40 somewhat miles an hour going downhill. It's just exhilarating, and that sound of that wind in my ears, and when you're going downhill, I feel like I'm getting something for free, right? It's like, I'm getting a gift of that gravity, and I'm getting it. And I just don't, you can't really do that with running. I mean, you could, I guess, run downhill, but you still have to be in total control. But for me, when I'm riding, I get that chance to let go down the hill when I'm in a long distance race. It's right away. I get the feeling of coasting and accomplishment of something, just kind of a gift given to me in my first race, as opposed to I have to do 10 somewhat marathons in order to feel okay, I got the groove, I can coast. Very different experience. So to me, there's a certain level of freedom and joy that I get going at a really high speed in a race, cycling race, than marathons. And I prefer the I can go faster on a bike, right? And I have more of a chance to beat people on a bike. I recognize that I'm a stronger cyclist than I am a runner. I can win, races like the Tour de Donut with when I add in my other, way of being able to beat people, that I like that. It's very hard for me to go run and eat donuts and beat people. So to me, the ultimate level of accomplishment for me and what I do would be the Krispy Kreme challenge in North Carolina that happens, I believe, in February, usually every year. That's a 5-mile race. Everybody eats only a dozen donuts, so it's not like I can eat an extra donut to subtract time. So that's the most level playing field that I could get, and I'm at a disadvantage there. So if I could win at that race, I'd love to do that race and win. Also, that's aligned with a really good charity, the Children's Hospital over there near campus. They built a hospital, for children, and so that's wonderful. I love to do something wacky, crazy, as long as there's something good attached to it.
That's tremendous. And you've also done Ironman, right?
Yeah, I've done 3 Ironman. I have to think about this. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 Ironman and several half Ironmans.
That's a tremendous accomplishment.
Thank you. I'm actually still very scared to be in the water. I only learned how to swim right before my first triathlon. It took me 3 months to learn, and just threw myself in the water. Basically just dumb unawareness of what danger I could be in, like losing, having anxiety. And I developed panic, the ability to, I was developing panic attacks in the water, right? So I had to go to I had to go to a sports psychiatrist to find a way to control that anxiety in the water. And I was able to get through it. So I had that terrible anxiety in the water through all my triathlons. I want to get back in the water. I don't feel it when I'm in a pool, like one of those sprint triathlons where it's like a winter one. I love those because I feel safe. But like open water, a 1 mile from shore, it's deep and nobody can see me if I get in trouble. That's all these crazy thoughts start getting in my head, and I'm just scared of like passing out and with my face in the water, and that's the kind of thing that I'm fine like trying to overcome it, but it's a very hard thing to do, and obviously I've done it, but not without a lot of mental strength that I didn't know I had.
That's a great accomplishment, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, Yasir, we're happy to welcome you back to Ohio once again.
Yes.
And we hope you break that 48 record, 49, maybe 50. That would be a
I'm okay
nice.
putting that. I'm okay putting that out
That'd be
there.
a nice round number. And Jim, we've got to be there.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, we will be.
Somehow.
Any
you,
secrets that you can let out on how you eat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want somebody to come challenge me. It's hard to like. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's hard to just keep eating and having a big number. I want somebody to push me. I want to be able to feel like there's a target on my back and somebody's trying to get me, and maybe they can beat me. I want that, and I welcome that. So my advice to anybody wanting to do this, and I have mentioned this before, but get the air out. Get the air out of the donuts. So there's lots of air in donuts. Don't eat the air. So as a general idea, but get as many as you can in your body. Your brain starts to tell your stomach starts telling your brain, hey, watch it. I'm full. About 4 minutes into it. So like anything you do, just try to get that down as much as you can in that first stop. There's 2 stops, in the full Tour de Donut. I think it's mile 12 and mile like 22 or something like that, 24. Get as many as you can in that first one. So in my case, I want to eat about. Okay, so I ate 60 donuts at the race in Pennsylvania. It's the what's it called? The Donut Derby. The Donut Derby in Pennsylvania. I ate 6 dozen donuts. So I ate 3 dozen donuts in the first one. These are Krispy Kreme, so they're not the the really meatier donuts in Ohio. Both are great. There's good things. I ate 3 dozen in my first one and 2 dozen in my second one. I get a dozen at a time and I eat them. It's hard to do a dozen in Ohio. So 6 is kind of where my jam is. So I'll try to get as many as I can. Again, you only have 4 minutes. So my advice is get the air out. Try to do 2, 3, or 4. I do 6. That's a lot. So just be careful. And just try to keep it going. Don't shove it all down your throat or in your mouth. Just like take a small bite, num num num, 3 bites, boom, down the chute. And take little sips of water. Keep that water at temperature, like air temperature. Don't chill it out. When you chill it, it makes your stomach upset. So keep it like no ice. Do that like 2 or 3. Get the air out. Try to get everything you can in 4 minutes. Whatever's done in whatever you can do in 4 minutes, you're out. Just leave because it's not going to help you. It's diminishing returns after that point. Yeah.
Do you train for that ahead of time? And prep your body like you do for bike races and running, etc.?
Absolutely. I do not eat the donuts. I do not train with donuts. There's no need to do that. In fact, I don't recommend doing that. You'll get bigger and you'll be out of shape. So That's not going to help. What you can do is like simulate the feeling of fullness that you're going to get at that 4-minute mark. So what you can do is do something super low calorie. Drink a big gallon of water. Make sure you maybe add a little bit of, maybe eat a banana or something before that or after it, so your potassium and your electrolyte levels don't get kind of out of whack. Drink at least half a gallon of water in one sitting as fast as you possibly can. That weighs 4 pounds. That's a good amount. That'll get you to like 20 somewhat donuts. For me, I'll drink a gallon in one sitting. I don't recommend that for anybody, but like once you go past the gallon, you're in the danger zone. I do that first thing in the morning, room temperature. Like in about a week or two before the race, I'll make sure to try to drink a gallon of water as fast as I can, and that simulates 8 pounds of feeling of fullness. I'll drink that in about a minute and a half maximum, and that's it. Then I'll just kind of like build myself up to a gallon, and that's all. I mean, I drink a gallon and a half of water every day anyway, so I try to compress it all.
We're going to try to cover this as best we can. Mark again wants to know what's your favorite cycling result so far. I
gotta say, it's any of my Tour de Donut races, because I win them, so like I'm very happy with that. So it's automatically love something that you do well at. So the Tour de Donut race in Ohio, high up there, I've won it like 3 times, I think. And then the Tour de Donut race in Illinois, the original, and then the Ohio one is the biggest one now. They've really done a really good job there.
Remarkable.
The Donut Derby race in Pennsylvania, the Tour de Donut race in Austin. There's one there. The Tour de Donut race in San Luis Obispo, and then I've done the Ironmans in 1, 2, 3. I've done 4 Ironmans. Sorry, I've done 4 Ironmans. Yeah, the 3 in Canada, the one in Whistler, and the one in Muskoka, and then the one in Quebec. Those are just fantastic up there. So it's kind of hard to pick. Yeah, and of course sorry, go ahead, Lee.
No. Well, I gotta say we're glad to have you with us, Yasir. Once again, and I think you're pretty sure we're going to get you on in August somehow, aren't we, Jim?
Definitely, yes.
We'll all be vaccinated by then, God willing, fingers crossed. And
I've had both my shots. Jim is one of those people who can't take them.
Right.
Okay.
And that's why it's important for everybody else to get theirs.
Yep.
And with that, we wish you well. We hope that you're able to deal with these problems you've cropped up, and we'll see you here. And just good to have you with us.
Yes, very good.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate it. It's always good to be on the show. I can't wait to see you guys in person, August 28th at the Tour de Donut in Troy.
Yeah, Ohio. I got some great drone footage someone gave me, Jim, from that event. I'll send it to you.
Excellent.
And with that, don't go away when we get out of here. Just hang around for a minute. Yes, sir.
Of course.
Okay.
You bet.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you next week.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.